time. That's about that message I've been sending. Immediately this thing happened on Sunday. I had a meeting with my campaign council. I called local government chairman. I called a lot of them. I said, please, let's be patient. Let's follow the due process of law. And then we're going to brief you at the appropriate time. So every morning, we spend some time. I'm sure other aspirants are also doing the same thing. You spend some time talking to your campaign council, talking to political leaders who are very, very, when I mean very upset. We are restraining them from doing what they would ordinarily want to do. We're restraining them. We're assuring them that justice will be served. We're assuring them that we are going to get justice. Let them be patient so that we don't rock the boat. But there's a point where we may be constrained to withdraw that directive.
Okay. Question from my fellow colleagues. Democracy in Nigeria seems to be very costly, starting from the process of seeking elected posts down to cost of governance. How do we make our democracy vibrant, cut cost of governance, and position the public and civil service in better position for high productivity?
It's simple. Anytime you have intention to manipulate a process, it becomes expensive. Because you must set up an agenda to compromise from beginning to the end. And for you to compromise from beginning to the end, you keep spending money unnecessarily. But if you are sincere about a process, you allow the process to run, provide the enabling environment without undue interference or intended manipulation, then the right things will be done. That's why I said it's cheaper to do the right thing than not trying to do the wrong thing and muscle your way through. It is at this point that you start spending money where you don't need to spend money. Do I need to give somebody money to vote for me? And that is why when these people find their way to get into public office, they are not accountable. Because if he sells a cow to win an election, cost of a cow, and then what he's expecting there is good, he's expecting to take it. At least the basic minimum is that he has to recover the cost of his cow. That's the basic minimum. And then for any investment, there's expected profit.
Thank you, sir. We'll just ask one or two questions on Niwa.
Okay.
I know Anambra and Niwa, they're just like Siamese twins. And because I know that sometime last year, Niwa was part of the process that saw containers being moved from Port Harcourt to the port at Onitsha.
Yes.
What is the situation now, sir?
When I took over office, I felt that one of the things that needs to be addressed was this issue of Onitsha was built quite a long time ago, abandoned. It remained a national, how do I describe it? Just a national asset that is not yielding any income. It was just remained abandoned. I felt that one of the things I should do for posterity's sake was to get that port functional. This is a world-class port built to the best of standards, I can assure you that, with all the required equipment, or lying fallow. But when I came in, I met a concessioning process that is ongoing. Up till now, it's still ongoing. Very shortly, we're going to round up and then get out of that. But we now said, why can't we look at other means of transportation within the country? One, to reduce the pressure on our roads. Because if you look at it, 60 to 70% of the containers that arrive today in Nigeria, they are Papa Port, end in either Onitsha or Aba. That's their final destination. Now, what that implies is that if there are, for example, 5 million containers going to the east, we are going to put 10 million trucks on the road, trailers. 5 million trailers moving containers to Onitsha, and another 5 million moving the containers back. Because the empty containers have to move back to the port for shipment. So we said, our roads are not designed to carry this pressure. That if there's anything we can do as an agency of government to reduce this pressure on our roads, while at the same time decongesting our ports. It is important we look inwards and look at using our inland waterways to move containers. This is what informed our doing that trial run in One. As we speak, we are about to do the trial run Lagos Onitsha. But we have engaged the Importers Association, who are the owners of the cargo, because you can't ship somebody's cargo or move somebody's cargo from where he destined it to be to another place. Meanwhile, because Onitsha River Port is not yet a port of destination, so you need his consent to move his consignment from Lagos, where he designated it, or One, where they are designated to go to. You need to get his consent to move them. So we have engaged the Chamber of Commerce, we have engaged the Importers Association, who are the owners of the cargo. We have also engaged barge owners, because as an agency, we are playing a regulatory role, so that we can encourage barge owners. As we speak now, we have licensed 14 organizations, barge operating organizations, who are partnering with us to bring to fruition this project. And we're having the buy-in of quite a lot of the critical stakeholders. We have engaged them at different levels. So what we want to do is to make the Onitsha River Port functional, fully functional, so that by the time the Oguta River Port is completed, we apply the same principle. Now that we have Barrow completed, we are looking at also applying the same principle, and then the Lokoja River Port that is still under construction, when it is completed, we'll also apply the same principle, so that we can effectively use the interland, the waterways, because there are some basic advantages we have as a nation. We have over 10,000 kilometers of inland waterway in this country, though it's only about over 3,000 kilometers that's all year round navigable. But this temple, as the need arises, as we open these routes and cargo starts coming into the hinterland using these routes, then we are now bound to open up these channels. Then we can now think of making additional kilometerage all year round navigable. But I want to say that that the project has gained the support and interest of our ministry. Our both ministers are in support. My colleagues in the other maritime agencies are fully in support of the initiative.
In terms of cost, what are the benefits? Is it cheaper?
It's cheaper, yes. It's cheaper. It's cheaper, safer, because when you're looking at cost, you have to look at cost from a global perspective. Cost is not only about transporting it. Have you looked at the cost on the road maintenance? Have you looked at the cost on other issues and things like that? So when you look at it, comparatively speaking, it is cheaper.
Okay, so we know NIWA does not have the deep pockets like NIMASA,
yes,
NP and the rest. Have you been able to manage it? Because these are very tall dreams, and
the important thing is that when you're conscious of who you are, you may save yourself a lot of trouble. Okay? If a man who has all it takes is 3.5 square meal, and you don't have all it takes, why don't you make 2 square? So what we are doing is that we're doing our best to manage our resources well. At the same time also, we're doing quite a lot to improve on our internally generated revenue. But the important thing is that we know our destination. We have worked out how to reach there. And certainly we're going to get there, by the grace of God.
IGR, we won't talk of IGR. What are your projections?
I wouldn't be able to give you in specific terms, but last year we were in the neighborhood of 1.3. Year before my appointment, we've moved it to almost 2, and then we're looking at our target. The target we set for ourselves is to hit 3. If I'm able to hit 3, I will congratulate myself and my staff. That's my immediate projection.
Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure.
I don't know if my colleagues has anything to do. Okay. That will be all for now.
Okay.
We wish you the best.
Thank you.